You think there's a scoreboard at your company. Points for results, points for effort, points for staying late, and solving problems nobody asked you to solve. There is no scoreboard. There never was. What exists instead is something far more arbitrary and far more human. It's called, who do we trust? And trust isn't earned in spreadsheets. It's earned in moments you don't even realize are happening. You've been scoring points in a game nobody's watching. Let me describe your work life. You go in. You execute. You don't gossip. You don't play games. You keep your head down. Because you genuinely believe the work is supposed to speak for itself. You've been told that your whole life, right? Work hard. Stay focused. Results matter. So that's what you do. And every quarter, your performance review says, meets expectations. Strong contributor. Meanwhile, someone on your team, someone who comes in at 9:02, leaves at 4:58, and spends half their day in alignment calls, just got a title change. And a raise. You tell yourself it's luck. It isn't. Only 24% of workers believe hard work alone leads to promotion. Nectar Survey, 2024. Here's the uncomfortable truth most career content will never tell you. Your company does not actually run on performance. It runs on perception of performance. Those are two completely different things. This is just one piece of what's really happening at work. Like it so more people wake up. Share it with a colleague who needs this reality check. Subscribe Workplace Decoded to start playing smarter, not just harder. Performance is what you do. Perception is what decision makers believe you do. And in corporate America right now, with only 31% of employees actually engaged at work, according to Gallup's 2024 report, almost everyone is operating on perception. Your boss has 30 direct reports and 1,000 things pulling for their attention. They do not have a perfect view of your contributions. What they do have is a mental picture of you. And that picture was formed in the first 90 days you were in that role. Maybe earlier. If that picture says reliable executor, you will be rewarded for executing. Not leading, not deciding, executing. The system doesn't punish you for hard work. It just quietly caps you with it. Let's talk about how this actually works inside the machine. Most people think office politics means backstabbing, gossip, alliances. That's the Hollywood version. The real version is quieter, colder. It's information architecture. Every office has an official org chart. You've seen it, a neat grid of boxes and names. That's not the real map. The real map is invisible. It's a web of who trusts whom, who gets invited to the pre-meeting before the meeting, who gets CC'd on emails they don't technically need to see, who gets informed before decisions are announced. And here's what the research shows. In most US companies, the people with real decision-making influence are not always the people with the biggest titles. A 2024 SHRM study found that 74% of workers agree their managers could have done more to prevent workplace dysfunction. SHRM Civility Index 2025. There are middle managers and senior individual contributors sitting inside these informal networks. People who haven't been promoted in 3 years, who have more actual influence than a VP who got parachuted in from outside. Because they control something more valuable than authority. They control narrative. They're the ones your manager calls before a big decision. Not for information, for validation. What do you think about this person? Do they seem ready? Your work doesn't answer that question. Your reputation does. And your reputation isn't built in your deliverables. It's built in hallways, in casual Slack messages, in how you show up in meetings where your boss's boss is watching. Remote workers found this out the hard way. A 2024 analysis of 2 million white-collar workers found that remote employees were promoted 31% less frequently than in-office or hybrid peers. Not because they worked less, because they were invisible. And invisible people don't get promoted. They get kept. And this costs you. So what happens if you keep operating the way you're operating? Nothing dramatic. That's the worst part. Nobody fires you. Nobody tells you something is wrong. Your performance reviews stay positive. You get your 2 to 3% annual raise. And 5 years pass, and you look up, genuinely confused, because you've been excellent this entire time. And the people who are now managing you, you remember when they were your peers. This is called a career ceiling, and here's what makes it so insidious. It doesn't feel like failure. It feels like patience. You keep telling yourself your time is coming, that the next project will prove it, that they'll see it eventually. But the promotion window for most roles in corporate America is narrow. As per Mercer Compensation Survey, 2024 U.S. companies plan to promote just 8% of their workforce in 2024. And those spots aren't distributed purely by merit. They go to people in the right networks with the right visibility, perceived as ready by the right people. You're not falling behind on skill. You're falling behind on position. Now here's the layer most career advice completely misses. There's a difference between being good at your job and being good at the game around your job. These are different skills, almost entirely separate. And the brutal truth is, the higher you go in any organization, the less the first one matters, and the more the second one does. Think about what actually gets evaluated in a promotion conversation. Not did they complete their tasks. It's, does this person have executive presence? Do stakeholders trust them? Can they navigate ambiguity? These aren't performance metrics. They're perception metrics. And they're subjective. Completely. There's another hidden rule almost no one talks about. Being too good at your current role is a trap. Because if you're the best person on the team at what you currently do, your manager has every incentive to keep you exactly where you are. You're not a rising star to them. You're load-bearing infrastructure. They need you to stay, and they'll never say that to your face. As per Journal of Accounting Research, Texas McCombs School of Business 2023, the criteria for promotion remain a black box for most employees. They tell you to build relationships and find a mentor, but they never tell you why the system is designed to stay opaque. Here's why. If promotion criteria were perfectly transparent, if there were a clear, objective scorecard, power would shift to the performers. Ambiguity is not an accident. Ambiguity is a feature. It keeps decision-making discretionary, which means it stays in the hands of the people who already have power. Your job is to operate inside that ambiguity without being destroyed by it. Here's the identity reframe. You've spent your career optimizing to be a great employee. But the people moving up aren't optimizing to be great employees. They're optimizing to be great candidates for the next role. Every day they walk into the office, they're not asking, how do I do this job well? They're asking, how do I make the right people believe I'm ready for what comes next? These look similar from the outside. They are completely different from the inside. One keeps you where you are. One moves you up. And right now, in 2026, this matters more than ever. Because Gallup's latest data shows employee engagement in the US just hit its lowest point in over a decade. Only 31% of workers are actually engaged. That means 69% of your coworkers are checked out to some degree. Which means the gap between being genuinely excellent and being perceived as excellent has never been bigger. In a disengaged workforce, someone who knows how to be seen, who knows how to shape perception, build strategic relationships, and control their own narrative, has an enormous structural advantage. You can be that person. Without lying, without manipulating, without becoming someone you're not. But you have to stop pretending the game doesn't exist. Because it does. And it's already being played around you. Moves to take control. So what actually works? Not networking, not sucking up, not playing fake. 3 shifts. That's all. First, stop managing tasks. Start managing perception. Every time you finish something significant, make sure the right person knows, not in a braggy way, in a keeping you informed way. There's a difference between self-promotion and strategic visibility. One feels gross. The other is just communication. Second, map the informal network before you need it. Figure out who your manager talks to, who they trust, who's in the pre-meeting before the meeting. Start building a relationship with those people now, not when you need a favor. Third, know what role you're actually being evaluated for, not your current one. The next one. Ask explicitly. If your manager can't tell you what ready for the next level looks like, that's your answer. And you need to start deciding whether this is a place worth playing the game. Because sometimes the smart move isn't to play better. It's to find a different board. Here's what nobody will say at your performance review. Your company didn't fail you because you didn't work hard enough. It failed you because it built a system that rewards compliance more than contribution. That values perception over performance. That keeps promotion criteria vague enough that power stays concentrated at the top. And then it told you, through every HR onboarding deck, every "our people are our greatest asset" all-hands meeting, that if you just kept your head down and did great work, you'd be taken care of. That was the deal they offered. You held up your end. They changed the terms without telling you. Are you succeeding at your job? Or are you succeeding at being kept in your job? Those aren't the same thing. One builds your future. One builds theirs. The problem isn't that you failed. It's that you were excellent at exactly the wrong thing.